Sub-Zero.
John came up with the, I remember John coming in and describing how he wanted to do Sub-Zero's fatality in the first game. And I was like, oh man, that's a bit extreme, isn't it? And then he was like, no, it'd be cool, you know, and then he went ahead and did the graphics for him, and then I put him in the game, programmed it all up, and we were looking, we called everybody in from the company asking what they thought, and they were like, oh, that is so disgusting, but you gotta keep it in.
Sub-Zero wins. Fatality. Sub-Zero wins. Fatality. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality. Test your might. Sonya wins. Fatality. Sonya wins. Fatality. Test your might.
Hi there guys, I hope you guys are enjoying my Mortal Kombat 1 retrospective. We've come pretty much to sort of the end of the standard characters, and now we're moving into the special characters. And I just wanted to give you guys my opinions on Goro, Shang Tsung, and Reptile. I'm going to start with Goro. Obviously, you know, when you played Mortal Kombat, or the first time you played it, you saw the battle plan, you know, went down, you saw that Goro picture, or you saw the arcade game on the story mode screen, you saw that picture of Goro, you know, half-human dragon, you're like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is a half-human dragon, you know? And the first time you get to Goro, is actually just before you fight Goro. This is another one of the magical touches that's in Mortal Kombat 1. This is why Mortal Kombat 1 is my favourite. I love Mortal Kombat 2, but it doesn't have as many polished touches as Mortal Kombat 1. In Mortal Kombat 1, after you finish the third endurance, or just during the third endurance match, you can hear this thing walking around on the roof above you, this boom, 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 and the screen shaking, going boom, boom, boom. And for those of you who haven't played it on arcade, you only get this pretty much on the arcade and maybe the PC experience, you know, the higher end versions of Mortal Kombat. You didn't get it on, I don't think, you might have got it on SNES. I don't think you got it on Mega Drive, but, you know, yeah, you'd be on the third endurance match, and be like, boom, 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 and you hear like, and you hear all this growling and shit. You know, you're like, what the fuck is that, you know? And that was Goro. And it was like, the game was trying to psych you out before you fought him. And that's fucking brilliant. You know, game development is an art. It is. There's so many ways that you can program the game, show the games, hear the game, you know. There's so many ways to do things, you know. And having that in there is like, it was psyching you out before you were fighting the boss. And it was really well done, you know. And then you win the third endurance mode, and then Goro drops down. After straight down. I remember the first time that happened, I wasn't fucking prepared. And he's just like, roar, you know, and you sort of take your hands off the joystick. I was like, what the fuck? I'm grabbing the joystick, you know, because normally, you know, in Mortal Kombat 1, between fights, you know, it goes back to the battle plan and then goes up. And it didn't do that with Goro. He just drops down like, roar, and you fight him right there and then. You know, there's no time to go back to the battle plan. You know, you fight him there, you know. And
Kano wins. Fatality.
yeah, you know, the first time you fight Goro, he pretty much kicks your ass. He's got several moves, like he's got a stomp, he's got an uppercut, a fireball, a throw move, like a do, which is like his coolest move. And then, of course, he's got that wind pose, you know. And, you know, they all those moves deal an insane amount of damage. You know, so the best strategy to beat Goro is obviously keep your distance and just pretty much fly kick him. Now, I know a lot of you guys think I'm cheap the way I play Mortal Kombat. You know, I do a lot of fly kicks. But, you know, it's part of the game. If you don't fly kick, the computer will fuck you up. Believe me. The computer has all sorts of advantages that you can't even fathom. The way the game's coded, and I've seen all sorts of weird shit. Like, you've done the cannonball with Kano, and it hasn't hit them, it just pushed them like that, just so they can then throw you like that. And you know, however you play Mortal Kombat, you know, you play to win, you know. And if fly kicking Goro in the head wins, then why not? So now we're going to take a look at some of Goro's moves. Yeah, check it out. This is me getting pwned by Goro, so I can show you guys his move set. Alrighty, so pretty cool, huh? So after you fight Goro, you pretty much move on to Shang Tsung. Now Shang Tsung had a cool look. He was like an old man. He had a sword, which he never ever uses at all during the final battle. And he has the power to morph into any character, including Goro. The only person he doesn't morph into is Reptile. Now Reptile, who I'll be getting to after I talk about Shang Tsung, is a secret character. So obviously that's why they wanted to keep him secret, which is great. So pretty much Shang Tsung has the ability to instantly morph into any character. And believe me, when I was talking about the computer just before, about the computer being cheap, this is how cheap the computer is. When Shang Tsung morphs and then morphs to character and does a move, it actually skips frames of animation so they can hit you faster to make this boss battle a lot harder. For example, say I'm about to fly kick Shang Tsung in the corner to the very much right of the screen. I'm about to fly kick him. He's cornered. He can't float back anymore. I'm about to fly kick him. A common escape move he'll do is instantly morph to Raiden and just teleport. Like, it's pretty much morph teleport. You know, it's not like Raiden. It's like, and then he'll do the torpedo. That's big, man. And this is the sort of shit that Shang Tsung does, you know. He'll morph into Liu Kang and do an instant fly kick, or he'll morph to Goro, you know, if you're close. He usually morph to Goro if you're close to him, so he can grab you, you know. And on top of all that shit, he can morph back to Shang Tsung at any time. And if you're in the air and Shang Tsung has the opportunity, he'll unleash a flurry of flaming skulls, man. And if the first one catches you, you're fucked. Because consider it the pretty much one of the only combos in Mortal Kombat 1. You know, and the damage that the fucking flaming skulls do is fucking epic. So if you get hit by one of them, you might as well give up, you know. And that's what makes Shang Tsung a badass. I love the fact that when you beat him, you release all the souls of the other characters. I always thought it was weird that there was no Goro soul that came out though, considering he morphs to him so much. I guess I just didn't have the stop motion animations of him, you know, coming out like that. And speaking of stop motion animation, check out this photo, or this picture. This is a picture that was posted on Ed Boon's Twitter of how they put Goro in the game, and as you can see, it's just a little figurine on a blue screen or a plain blue background with a light there, and they pose Goro and take snapshots and then animate those snapshots in the game. That's how they made Goro, whereas all the other characters were real characters animated into video footage. So yeah, some pretty impressive, well, not impressive technology, but some interesting ways that they went about making this game. That's another thing I loved about Mortal Kombat. I'd love to know whose idea it was, Ed Boon's or John Tobias's, to photograph actors or film actors. I'd love to know where that idea came from. It really gave it some unique flavour. Yeah, so that's pretty much covers the bosses, Goro and Shang Tsung. Now I want to talk about Reptile, my favourite thing in the Mortal Kombat game. So Reptile. A lot of you, obviously with the internet now, we all know about Reptile. We all know, you know, most of you have seen my video on YouTube. You know about what you have to do to get to him. But back when it was in the arcades, if you said, I saw a green guy drop down in the middle of the screen before the fight, and he said, tip etmo photob, no one will believe you. You know? or this green guy dropped down and said fatality is the key. No one will believe you unless they saw it, because the Reptile event is so rare. Now, I had the chance at E3 in 2008. I had this awesome interview with Ed Boon. Ed Boon gave me half an hour of his time, or 25 minutes of his time, and I asked Ed Boon so many old school questions about Mortal Kombat 2, you know, and I got these excellent answers about Reptile, the odds of getting clues, all this shit. I had the whole thing filmed. The camera that I use, that I make these YouTube videos with, is a Sony camera. It does not support a microphone. Before I did this interview, I asked Midway if I could do it in a better location, and they said there is nowhere else. So I had to be there, and it was loud, but I didn't really, you know, until I watched the video back, I didn't realize how fucking loud it was. And it's a shame that the interview is ruined by the excessive talking and the crowd in the Midway booth. It makes it sort of very hard to hear me, and at times hard to hear Ed Boon. And all I can do is apologise. There's nothing I can do about it. And I wish I could go back in time and just find a way to fucking fix it, because that interview with Ed is honestly my favourite. Ed was so relaxed, and he gave such a cool interview, and he gave me so much time, and I wasn't rushed like this year, and it was awesome. And yeah, so all I can say is sorry, but I'm going to show you guys these interview clips, and I'm going to put some subtitles or text somewhere so you guys can know what the hell I'm saying and what Ed is saying back. But it's basically me asking him about the Reptile shit. So yeah, I'll just quickly go back before I show you the clip. So in Mortal Kombat 1, about every 100 games, one in every 100 games, you got a clue. And that's just a clue, man, on how to fight Reptile. The clues were like, I'll try and remember them all. Fatality is the key, which means you had to do a fatality. Perfection is the key, which meant you had to get a double flawless on him. Blocking will get you nowhere. You weren't allowed to block at all during the fight. And I've never been able to test it. I've never been game to test it by pressing block after winning the match to see if you could fight Reptile with Sonya or Scorpion. There's a trick with Scorpion which I've done. Scorpion's fatality is actually up. It's not block up. So if you just keep jumping with the stick and pressing up, you'll do the fatality without pressing block, which I've done. But Sonya's, you know, it's really hard to fight Reptile with Sonya. She's got a really bad fly kick for a start, which, you know, if you want a double flawless, you just want to beat the computer as easy as possible. So you just fly kick the shit out of him. Yeah, Sonya's fly kick sucks. So I've never even really had the opportunity to fight Reptile, let alone try it with the fatality. Other clues were tip et faux motob, which was bottom of the pit backwards, which is where you fight Reptile. Then there was look to la luna, which meant at the start of the match, you got to look up to the moon and see that those shadows are there. There were many shadows in the Mortal Kombat game. There was Santa Claus, there were Peter Pan and the Neverland Kids. There was a UFO, a blimp, a rocket, a witch, a cow. What else? Anything else? Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, there was like all those different shadows, and they fly past the moon, and that means it's an indication of a rare event. That's what I love. How often would you say you saw Santa Claus, or a UFO, or a rocket, or a blimp, or the Peter Pan kids fly around? You'd never see this shit, do you know what I mean? Or a witch, you know, it's like a Halloween thing almost. And it just, yeah, it meant a rare event, which meant you have a chance at a rare event, which is to fight Reptile. Other clues were alone is how to find me, which meant you could only do it in one player game. A lot of people think you can do it in a two-player game. Not the case. One player only. And the home systems don't fucking count, alright? I don't give a shit about the Super Nintendo or the Mega Drive versions. You know, I'm talking about the arcade, baby. The arcade is the best. On SNES, none of this shit matters because you get a double flawless, you fight Reptile. That's crap. That's just crapping all over the secret of Reptile. This made it really easy to access him. You know, the thing that made the Reptile secret so cool, that it was so hard and rare and you know, just that fact. What is that all the kids? Oh yeah, 10 million points if you destroyed me. 10 million points. If you wanted to get a good score on that Mortal Kombat high score table, Reptile. You'd see all these scores, 100,000, 5 million. Then you'd see 15 million or something crazy. And people were like, what the fuck, And one time, I actually fought Reptile twice during an arcade game on my machine, on my own Mortal Kombat 1 arcade machine. I'm spewing because the battery or whatever saves the high score table on it went flat or whatever. It was reset and I lost that score. I had a score of something ridiculous, like 32 million points. Because 20 million of that was, I beat Reptile twice. And it's actually a bug because on the second endurance, you're not supposed to go to the pit. You're supposed to go to Goro's lair or something. Or on the third endurance or something. No, not the third. Second, yeah, the second one. And sometimes you get to go to the pit. And yeah. And I got lucky, I got the shadows and everything, and I was able to do it twice. But I can never show you guys, I've lost it, And the odds of me doing that again, practically zero. Yeah. So, let me think, is there any other clues? I've actually got a file here. This is a peek inside the code, the programming of the Mortal Kombat game. I had a look inside on my computer, and you can see the clues here. Now, there are two really rare clues. You cannot match my speed, which is a clue that obviously Reptile's a lot faster than any other character in the Mortal Kombat game. And there's another one, I am Reptile, find me. I've never seen that clue, never. And I've actually got a save state in MAME, and if I load that save state up, it allows me to generate a Reptile clue every time. Someone found the code that triggers the Reptile event, and they made a save state. So you just load it up, and you're always generating a Reptile event. So you get different clues every time, even though it's the same match. But I've never had that I am Reptile, find me clue, Maybe it was in the code, but then maybe Ed wrote something to make that not come up. Maybe they thought it was cool to not have his name in the game or something, I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty much all the Reptile clues. Now, fighting Reptile, well, once you got the double flawless fatality and everything, you got this, like you clocked the game, and this event was even better than clocking the game. And then you fought Reptile in the pit. That's like the best arena ever. Not even Mortal Kombat 2 had an arena like the pit. Think about it. The pit was like just a gore pit filled with spikes, which is gross, don't get me wrong. But in Mortal Kombat 2, you had the dead pool, which was just an acid. You had the combat tomb, which was spikes on the roof. There was no gore in the spikes, though. You had the third level, which is the wilderness, which is one of my favourites, actually. I actually told Tony Goski this when I met him in 2006. I really love the stuff you did in the wastelands background. There are all these little skeletons, like all stuck to like some sort of framework in the background. There's all little details in that background, but no gore, just skeletons and that. And then you had the living forest, portal, armory, air combat, carnage arena, pit 2. None of them had any gore, including the pit 2. The pit 2 had a cool fatality, don't get me wrong, but there was no gore. Only MK1 had that gore. That level of gore was awesome. The decapitated heads, the dead bodies in the pit, all the blood, the people impaled. It was over the top. It was cool. And this is another reason why MK1's my favourite, They didn't have that in MK2 or MK3 or MK4 even. And it just added so much to the game. So when you got to fight Reptile in that background, oh, mate, if you're in an arcade, everyone would come and crowd around and be like, what the fuck is going on there? And I actually told Ed Boon this, and he laughed. I told him the first thing I said to him, the first time I fought Reptile, everyone was crowding around me like, what's going on? And he laughed. He burst out laughing. You'll see it in the video. And yeah, it was such a cool feeling to be in the arcade and be like, hey, look what I did, you know? And everyone would be like, how the fuck did he do that, you know? And then you'd be like, oh, I don't know, you know? And then you'd ramble on like, oh, you know, I got like a double flawless and I did a fatality and there was this thing on the moon, and everyone would be like, yeah. And it was just such a cool event, and that's what made Reptile friggin' awesome, man. So now I'm going to show you guys some clips. Ed Boon, me interviewing Ed Boon at E308, and him talking about the Reptile events. I'm going to show you a video of me unlocking Reptile and fighting him, and I've got a few screenshots of some of the clues. I actually tried to recapture this footage of me fighting Reptile, because this is from my arcade machine, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the footage, but I thought it'd be nice to have some not filmed on the screen footage. But for some reason, I don't know why, I sent out a Twitter post about this. That Mortal Kombat 1 on PlayStation 2 Deception Collector's Edition, I haven't had one shadow, not one. And I think it's a glitch, because I know I've had it on the Xbox One. It's just that I didn't have the Xbox set up, and I chose the PlayStation 1 to record all this footage from. So, yeah. And I'm just losing the game and starting again, losing, starting again, which is normally what you do. And after about maybe 10, 20 games, you'll see the shadow at least once, right? I clocked the game, I kept doing it, no shadows, nothing. Nothing at all. I don't know why. So, I just didn't have time. I've run out of time, you know, so I'm just chucking the original arcade video in there. I'm sure you guys won't mind, but it's annoying. I wanted to re-record the footage for this video. You know, I'm trying to make my videos a lot better now in the quality, so oh well, we can take our sacrifice here. This wasn't my fault, so yeah, that's pretty much it for the characters of Mortal Kombat. I've talked about them all now. Now, in the next part of my MK1 Retrospective, I'm going to look at the arenas. The arenas are very cool. And then in the final part, I'm going to talk about a few little did you knows, and a few little things in the game, and then just a final closing by me. So, yep, thanks for watching, and check out the videos. The first one is Reptile 1, which that's what I talked then I'm like, oh, in the pit, what's going on? Like, no one's seen that before. Just secrets like that is so good. People are always going to find out.
Yeah, there was definitely like a magic to that. I actually, somebody sent me pictures of it of an arcade and put up big posters. It was a contest, you know, be the first to find Reptile, and you know, they put posters up and everybody's looking for Reptile, you know, and all that. And you know, the reality of the situation is that, you know, I went to lunch one day for something, and I went to Kansas City or something, and then I got, you know, I was like, oh look, we can make a real version of this game, you know, and like literally that night it was done. The whole picture was done. It was like it was just a total off the top of my head type of thing. It was kind of like a silly thing, and then
Is there any chance to get that wrong?
It's a random function call. I think I said something like, you know, 1 out of 100 chance or something, you know, that it happens.
Potato. fatality.